My name is Edgar Rivera, and I am a junior, class of 2021, and I am from Everman, Texas.
So, what made you decide to go to college?
It was really my parents. I think from a young age, I really, I watched a lot of college basketball and college sports. That was like the first time that I really like learned about college, and so I would tell my parents like about which school I'm rooting for or whatever, and they would always tell me like, oh, like you should go to one of these schools, and that was like pretty early on. That was like fourth, fifth grade. So that I think just at that point, you see it on like TV and stuff like that. So my parents like always pushed that like I could do that too, and I'm thankful to them for that. But yeah, it, it was that was really it. I just saw it on TV, and I just grew to believe that I could do it and I could go.
What made you decide to come to A&M?
Um, well, there's a few different factors into that, like the major that I chose, um, and also just like I guess uh, making the decision to live. I don't want to say on my own, but out like move out of my parents' house. It really came down to a decision between UT Arlington for engineering and Texas A&M for political science, and just with my first year was in fall of 2017. That's when I came in. So just with the way that the political climate was back then, political science sounded like really appealing. And then I got pretty much full funding from Texas A&M, which made it a lot easier to make the decision to leave. Um, and yeah, just it's a bigger school. It has higher rankings and a lot of things. So there wasn't really any decision. Any point or reason like why I shouldn't attend Texas A&M.
So, what was the application process like?
The application process was pretty stressful. I only applied to a few schools, but I knew I would get in because I was in the top 10%. But it was pretty scary because I believe it was the first one I turned in, and I turned it in like right before the deadline. But I was an Avid in high school, so my teacher helped me, and my friends helped me. Um, we all filled out the applications together. That's like what we had to do in Avid class. So it was a learning process because obviously I'd never done it before, but it was fun because I got to do it with my friends, and we like all applied to like kind of the same schools. Um, yeah.
Can you tell me more about the Avid program?
Yeah, so the Avid program, it's essentially like a college readiness program, and it focuses on, you know, putting students on a path towards higher education. So, I'm pretty sure it's a national thing, and fortunately, I had it at my school. So there, we focused a lot on, critical thinking, like having in-class discussions about real issues, real things happening around the world. And it was really just a learning experience because it was like one of the only classes where we talked about um, like current events and stuff like that. So I think it really developed my mind, especially because I was in it for 4 years. But it was the biggest thing was it pushed me um, forward with the idea that people from my community could attend college, and I know a lot of people in my classes benefited from Avid too.
So, what kind of help did you get apart from Avid?
Um, I mean, like I said, just my friends, because we were all doing the same thing. I didn't really get much help from like guidance counselors. I hear about that from parents. No, it was just my friends. Yeah.
You created like a support system with them?
Yeah, for sure. Because it was pretty scary and exciting. Because you kind of face the reality that people are gonna like leave and people are gonna split up. But I mean, the amount of people who were applying for colleges at my school was pretty small. So, you know, it, it was a small group kind of that knew kind of like where your head was at and what kind of path you wanted to be on. So we all kind of like related to about with that and like would talk about it, seek advice, seek insight, seek help, and yeah, it was definitely a support group.
So tell me about the day you got your acceptance letter.
um, let's see. I believe I received it one day and I didn't know. So I actually went. It had arrived one day, but we didn't check the mail. Like really, like we just got it out of the mailbox. And so the next day, the next morning, it was just on the table. Like I was just looking through like the stack, and like I said, like I knew I was gonna get in because of the top 10% thing. But I mean, it was it was cool. It was the first one I got. But I mean, yeah, like I knew I was gonna get in, so it wasn't really anything too exciting.
So tell me about your first day on campus.
The first day on campus was really cool because it was my birthday, and it was I don't know what it was. It was a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, whichever one was rarer. So my roommate, we went to Bahama Bucks, and then for he got me like a birthday cake flavor, and then we just went to like walk around campus, see where our classes were, and I saw people like making like contraptions to look at the lunar eclipse, and it was it was really surreal because that was the first time that I saw like a bunch of people, especially at Rudder Plaza, because everybody was just trying to see it, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, it was really cool thing to see, especially on my birthday. So I was pretty excited. Um, yeah.
Did you feel welcomed into like the whole Aggie family?
No, yeah, for sure. At on the first few days, yes, because I mean there was like the Howdy Week and things like that, and so I seeked out the events that I thought would appeal to me. I was in a program called A Crew for that was for first generation students, so really a lot of the things that I went to were like kind of like accommodating, I guess, to my background and my situation, first generation, Latino. Um, and so I would go to these events and these programs, and I guess that made me feel welcome. But uh, I mean, I feel like that probably changed over the course of the semester. But as soon as I stepped on campus, I definitely felt welcome.
So tell me about a little bit more about A Crew.
So A Crew is it's a program under Launch, which is um, I think it's like a wider program that houses a bunch of first generation like scholarships and programs and stuff like that. So A Crew is one of them. It's like Aggie collegiates ready to explore the world, and I was paired with a mentor who I didn't really connect with. I met her like once, and everybody on my floor in my dorm, we all had to live in like we had to live in Hobby Hall, and one hallway, two hallways. It was everybody was A Crew, so um, we had to live together. People in the program. We had like learning communities where like you would get together with your peers and your mentors and do whatever. We had classes which really taught us. It taught us about like the resources. It taught us about like the financial aid center, the money education center, stuff like that. The academic resource center. Yeah, um, I think it's really good. I wish I had gotten more out of it. I did. I was a mentor my sophomore year. They really encouraged that. So I mean, that was pretty cool.
So you talked a little bit about your major. Could you tell me more about it and why'd you choose it?
Yeah, so I chose political science, like I said, because of the political climate that was happening when I was a senior in high school. So the 2016 election had happened, which I had been following for the better part of a year, and just with that, like I became in love with politics. I became in love with poll data, um, statistics, campaigning. All of it just like really appealed to me, and uh, I mean, I knew that my family had a lot of things worth fighting for, but you know, the 2016 election, especially the primaries, is when I got really into it. I know Bernie Sanders was campaigning, so I mean, really, just like the whole movement that came out of his campaign really encouraged me that it was possible for marginalized communities to get into politics, to vote, to read about politics, to become to like be informed. And so I wanted to be, one of those people that could, inform communities about that. And I mean, I loved it at the same time. But over time, I definitely became, I don't want to say less excited, but politics, it's very heavy, it's very serious. So it became kind of something of excitement to something that felt more like a responsibility to be political informed and to be politically active. Um, so yeah, so I mean, political science here has been really amazing. Some of the classes, and I mean, I get to apply them outside of the classroom, the things that I learn in those classes. So um, yeah, I mean, that's why I chose it.
So, what is it like to be a first gen student?
Um, you know, sometimes it like kind of hits you that you know I know that I've been in some classes where we talk about the topic of social mobility, and I mean, I feel like in that instance I kind of realized I'm like reading all these statistics and stuff like that about how hard social mobility, upward social mobility is, and then it kind of just like makes you realize like you are that social mobility for your family, and at that moment it feels pretty heavy, and I think that could be difficult for some people. I think for me personally, like I mean, I kind of like that pressure, you know, especially because my parents are so encouraging of me finishing my education. So, I mean, sometimes, yeah, it's scary. Sometimes you just need to take a breather. Sometimes you just need a break just because it is a lot. I know sometimes I have conversations with my parents about like you need to continue your education so I don't have to keep working here and stuff like that. And, I mean, they say that with good intent, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty heavy thing to put on somebody. So I mean, that's why I'm thankful that my my experience my freshman year, I had a number of resources that I could go to.
So, tell me about your happiest moment as an
My happiest moment as an Aggie. So I was a part of I was a founder for the Latinx graduation ceremony, the first one last year, 2019. And, I wasn't a graduate, but, being able to help plan that and see the whole thing come to fruition and see like all the parents and all the graduates just like unifying and applauding somebody who got a PhD, like eating the same food, listening to the same music. It was crazy. That is something that I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life, and that was my favorite time here at A&M.
what was your